schar. They have in mind that they're serving in order to get schar, because what they want is lasis nachas ruach liyotzei. What they want is to please God, and they know that God's ultimate desire is to give the reward. So since they know that God's ultimate desire is to give the reward, therefore they serve God with the idea in mind that God should give them the reward, and in that way God should be served, and God should have what He wants. God should be pleased in that way, that He gets to have what He wants, and He gets to give schar to the tzaddikim. Like it's something like with lovers, with two lovers who are very genuine about each other. Each one is really thinking about the other one's pleasure and so on. God wants to give schar to the tzaddikim. The tzaddikim want God to have the pleasure of giving them schar. That's what Reb Chaim Volozhin says. So which is more Chassidish, what the Baal Shem Tov says, or Reb Chaim Volozhin says? I ask you. Oh.
Maybe the Chisoron is not in the schar, but in the almanas.
No, but I'm saying Reb Chaim Volozhin says a knetch on that. There's a madrega of tzaddikim that they do the avoid al manas the kabel pras. They have in mind not just to do the mitzvah, but in the Torah. They have in mind to do the mitzvah in order to get schar. But that's the Shem Shemayim, because they know that the Eibishter's ultimate ratzon is to give them schar. They know that that's the Eibishter's ultimate ratzon, and that's the ultimate nachas ruach lefanim, because that's what he wants. Ratzah kodesh baruch hu lehitiv l'nivro.
So I'm asking not only on but also on the mission itself, that the Chisoron is the almanas. Somebody could want that the Rebbeinu Shalom should have somebody to give it to, but his wanting that is what the Chisoron is. After all, we're talking about Misham Shenesarav.
Right.
Is it possible to be Misham Shenesarav Shaloi almanas l'kabel pras? It doesn't mean not to get the pras, but it may mean that the shaloi, meaning I have no agenda. I have no agenda. I'm being mishamshin without an agenda.
Look, there is a famous Chassidic word that the Gemara says, I think Chagiga, that Elisha ben Avuya heard a Baskar after he went and did all those things, and he was an Hachasidus, so he was thinking maybe to do tshuva, but we heard a Baskar that came out, and it said that Shuv Bonim Shevavim Chutz Me'acher, that all you wayward sons come back, but Acher, he's finished.
Yeah.
He's finished. Elisha ben Avuya is finished. So he said, look, Olam Haba, I'm not going to get anyway, let me at least get Olam Haza. So he went to Zionus and he ran around and had himself a great time. So people ask, okay, look, all that various that he did after that point, what's the tain on him? I mean, he was informed from heaven that he's dead. So what's the tain on him? So there's a Chassidic Torah, they say, listen, so what? You're supposed to ding the Rebbeinu Shalom. I mean, so they told you that you're not going to get Olam Haba, so it's not about Olam Haba. So you're saying something like that, right? Even if you would know that you won't get Olam Haba, even if they would inform you, even if you would know that you're not going to get Olam Haba, the Rebbeinu Shalom said do X, so you got to do X, and that's avoid. That's avoid. So you like Mises with different tzaddikim who sold their Olam Haba, they sold away the Gan Eden to different people, and so on. The Chidah has a whole shmooze about whether the contract works and so on. But you could say like that. But this is a different part.
I guess I'm really saying, can we question our motive to the extent that we should be able not to have a motive to get schar. Not to get the schar. The schar is schon weggegeben. But maybe it's also not to have the motive, not to want it.
Yeah, that's the pashut pshat in the Mishnah. The pashut pshat in the Mishnah is shaleil manas the kabel process, that the motive shouldn't be to get the schar.
It sounds like shaleil manas the kabel, but manas for something else.
I don't know.
Saying it shouldn't be manas b'chlal.
It shouldn't be almanas.
Right.
But what is the almanas besides the schar? What is the almanas anyway besides the schar? Yeah. I mean, that on a pashut level, a person thinks if a person is not holding by madregas, a person thinks that I need to do this because I'll go to Gan Eden. If I don't do this, I'll go to Gan Eden. I mean, that's a pashut level. It's a business proposition.
The Maggid says that all our serving God is to give God pleasure.
Right.
We don't do it for us or for anything. It's all the mitzvahs are just.
It's
a little different. But
wait a second. That's what it says in the Mishnah, that it should be like that. Shalei Manas Kabel Pras, that you should do it because God wants it, not
God wants it. Because God gets
Last is
pleasure.
nachas ruach liyotzei. I understand, but
pleasure.
Reb Chaim Volozhin is talking about an inyan of gewisse tzaddikim that they're trying to be oived in such an oifen that it's not last is nachas ruach liyotzei on a pashat oifen that means that it's not nachas ruach liyotzei because he commanded me to do this, so he gets a nachas ruach. He will be pleased if I do what he commanded me to do. That's the simple way of understanding nachas ruach. He's saying that he wants the tzaddik wants to give the Rebbeinu Shalom the nachas ruach of giving him the schar, because that's the Rebbeinu Shalom's ultimate desire. That's the Rebbeinu Shalom's ultimate purpose in the whole business.
So maybe the lesson is the Mishnah is telling us don't live on such a high level. Don't live up there where you're thinking about what God wants and doesn't want,
Okay,
and choosing for God how to fulfill His desire. Do what He tells you to do.
Reb Chaim Volozhin speaks about that, and he says that this madrega that he talks about is applicable to only very few people, and only people who are on a very high level can really think about getting the schar in this way, in which the real intention is to please God. But for most of us, it has to be just to please God and not think about the schar at all. Because if we start thinking about the schar, then that means that we just want the schar. Of course, the Mishnah is giving a general rule, that.
So Reb Chaim Volozhin saying there are exceptions to this.
That's
rule,
what I think.
That's what I think. If he asks you advice, that kind of thing.
Well, I'm not sure, because he might mean that that's not called a Manas Kabel Pras, because the point is not that you're doing it in order to get something.
Okay.
Ultimately, it's about. Yes. Yes.
Sorry, I can't say
No
what, but
problem. So
you
do I.
mentioned before that tzaddikim may want to come back in terms of guilt.
Yes, yes.
Because, but how is it that they would even have a say over it? I mean, isn't it really? I mean, it's beyond their. Isn't it beyond anyone's capability?
Yeah, I understand, but there's a big thing. There's a basic rule, which is tzaddik goyzer v'kodesh baruch hu makai, that God is very interested in what tzaddikim want.
But these tzaddikim would be dead already at that
Yes,
point?
but even if they
So it's their neshama that's wishing to come back.
basically, yes,
And
basically.
they're still considered, I mean, whatever. So according to this, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is listening to the neshama's desire.
Yes.
Now, if these tzaddikim were alive, would they still have that same desire?
Presumably.
Presumably that's what it means.
No, you don't choose when you're coming back as a go-go whether that lifetime you're going to be tzaddik or Russia. You don't choose that in a previous lifetime, or when you're negotiating with the powers that be on whether to come back.
Yeah, no,
or
but
not.
the point is that a normal person would not want to come back begilgal because it's supposed to be very
but
painful.
It seems like the tzaddik in the next life is the one who wants to come back because he's the one that's doing all the mitzvahs. So, okay, you have lifetime A and lifetime B. Lifetime B doesn't remember that lifetime A happened. Like that same soul doesn't know whether in this second lifetime it'll be a tzaddik, it'll be doing mitzvahs or not.
You're right, but the point is that as long as the soul is up there, there's no avodah. As long as the soul is up there, there's no avodah. There's only schar. So the point is that the tzaddik wants to come back and try his best. You're right.